Hey guys, and welcome back to a brand new video and the return of my AOR Racing League series. And here we are for round number 10 for the British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Now, it's been a little while since I've uploaded one of these, obviously, and if you guys did miss the last race, then I do urge you to check it out by clicking the card in the top right hand corner of your screen. But today we arrive here at Britain, and I can say obviously this race was quite a while ago, about 2 months ago it took place, and yeah, we're going to try and get up to speed on the League Racing series. So yeah, all in all, Silverstone, a track that I quite enjoy. It's one of my favourite ones on the calendar because it's very historic and it has a lot of racing pedigree, and this wasn't my home race and a race where I want to try and do well. So far in this season we are actually winless. I'm yet to get my first win, so I'm kind of chasing that, to be honest, and I don't think I've actually got a pole either, so my record hasn't been great in AOR F3, and I'm looking to try and put that to bed and try and see if I can turn it around. And you never know, if we can get a good result here, then maybe we can get ourselves in amongst the title mix. But then again, we've still got a long way to go, and we need to get a lot of points on the board, and we need to start winning races, and that's going to be, you know, quite a task because I don't practice as much as I should have, you know, for these kind of races, and I kind of hate myself for it. But I'm also busy a lot of the time. But all in all, let's see what happens here. We are here at Britain, and it is now time for qualifying. If you guys are excited for the video, drop a like straight off the bat. And with that being said, it's time for the qualifying session. So here we are then, hitting the track for qualifying, and we're going to go straight out on the hardest compound of tyres available. I do always select the hardest tyres from now on when it comes to the tyre selection, and I'm going to go for the hards, the horrible blue colour hards, and we're going to try and see what the track feels like. And basically we're going to go for 2 runs and 2 different laps to really get a good feel to see where the car is and where the track is on the hardest tyre, because things can only get better from this point onwards. And as you can see, we're currently P16. We're on our way now to set our first lap of the session, and hopefully we can improve. Our first attempt wasn't that good. As you can see, we are currently last, but now we're on for our second attempt on the hards, and we are looking to improve here quite nicely as we're starting to find quite a bit of time on this second lap. Tyres are nicely up to temperature, and you know, in the optimal working range, and generally the car is working pretty good. I was happy with the setup, and I felt confident. I didn't have a lot of practice coming to this race, but I remember doing a career mode race just before this, so I kind of had that muscle memory in my head, and hopefully that kind of pays off for me. As you can see, currently P14 on the hard compound tyres. We then go down a compound of tyre onto the mediums to see if we can improve and try and qualify on this tyre, but then I make a mistake out of the corner, and you can see that we just about get away with a DNF, and we just break our front wing, but that could have been horrible. We could have easily retired from the session there, and yeah, pretty much our run comes to a close. I was on for a decent improvement, and that would have been a good lap, but all in all, we're going to have to go back out on the soft compound tyres. And now the question is, can we pull out a 1-lap banzai on this tyre? Let's wait and see. Straight away through turn 1 and 2, obviously flat out through here, no lift off needed, and you're going to maximise the speed as we now look for the 100-metre board down to 3rd gear for turn number 3. A little bit lock up there, but we just about get it under control as we now go into turn 4, down to 2nd gear to get the front end in. Focus on your exit speed and traction out of turn 4, through turn 5 onto the Wellington straight, opening up the DRS for the first time this lap as we now go down towards Brooklands and Luffield here. First of all, the long left though, you've got to try and pick up a late apex as you then open it up as much as you can for the right of Luffield. Patience required as you get a very narrow apex right at the end, using all the curb on the exit to get on the power, going through the gears, through the king of Woodcut, and now we look for the old turn 1 Cops corner. Try and keep it flat if possible through here, pretty straightforward, and make sure you optimise the line, scrubbing the least speed possible through there to maximise straight line speed. As we now go into Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel, maximum commitment through here, using the gears to really get the car to work for you as we now get on the power, this time not running wide as we open up DRS here, and we're on for a decent improvement, and it's neck and neck with pole position here. We're looking very good so far as we now go into the final sector, into Stowe, going down a couple of gears, making sure you focus on your exit. I missed my apex slightly, but we just about keep it within track limits, and now braking at the 100-metre board down to 3rd gear for the Val chicane, left and then the right. Go through the club section, and then finally on the power, focusing on your traction and up to the line, and that is a lap of Silverstone, and we do go P2, a decent lap there, and just shy of pole position. I was very, very surprised, to be fair. I wasn't expecting to be competing for first place, and that was actually the case. So all in all, a very good lap there. You can see the session ended, nobody else really improved, and we're actually going to get our front row start, our first front row of the season in AOR, and I was very, very happy with that lap. I think pole wasn't possible because that was near perfect. I could have maybe hit the apex at Stowe, but Lemon himself told me after qualifying that he definitely made a few mistakes on his lap and he could have gone even faster. So I think generally we didn't have the pace to be number one, but we were in the mix, and everyone qualified on the softs, no medium tyre runners, and you got Collis, Lasser and iPony there down in 6th, 7th and 8th, who are the people leading the championship. So a pretty interesting grid and a bit of a change of the order, something that we're not really used to in AOR, and the people that haven't always been on, in the top positions are actually taking the top 5 places here. So a very welcome change, and that's something that's going to make the race very interesting tomorrow, especially with strategy, as everyone's on softs. So strategy-wise, it's looking pretty straightforward for most people, except for those starting outside the top 10. But all in all, that is qualifying, and we're now going to move into the race. Right, here we are then on the grid for the British Grand Prix, and as you can see, we are currently getting on the warm-up lap, making sure we feel comfortable with the car. The strategy today is going to be a one-stop race with the softs onto the mediums, as you'd expect. Pretty straightforward stuff, and most people are going to follow that. There might be a couple of hard tyre runners in there maybe, or those who also may start on the mediums behind us, and they might become a factor in the race when it comes to general strategy. But all in all, let's see what happens as we line up here onto the front row of the grid. Once again, I can't believe I'm saying that, but let's get ready for the 5 red lights here for run number 10 for the British Grand Prix. The 5 red lights are on and they are off, and away we go for the British Grand Prix. And it's not a great start from us, not a terrible one, but not a great one, as Lemon gets away nicely. We've got Courtney trying to go around the outside of turn 1. He manages to hold it, a little bit of a love tap there as we now go down towards turn number 3, trying to hold the inside line. A couple of lockups here and there, but we just squeeze out Courtney there and hold the line. But he goes back down the inside at turn 4. Very audacious move, fair play to him. I give him a little bit of room as he did come at the last second down the inside. We get squeezed off the track there, picking up my first track extension of the race as we now get on the power here and racing down towards the Brooklyn section all around the outside. Can we hold it on Courtney? And yes, we do. We just hold on to second place, but already we've got a track extension warning here on lap number 1, and we've only got 2 more of those, otherwise we will pick up a penalty. So we've got to be careful, because this track is definitely one of those ones where you're prone to picking up penalties, and there's something that I'm actually banking on counting on from other people elsewhere. But meanwhile, now onto lap number 2 here, I'm going to look at Lemon as we go down the inside to Stowe, just put my nose there, letting them know that we are racing and I'm going to fancy my chances if we get a go. Lemon goes defensive actually, quite surprisingly, into the chicane, and we have to take a bit of an awkward line around the outside, avoiding the contact, and that's going to put me in the back foot to Courtney slightly, but we do get a good exit, and that's going to just about buy me some time as everyone's setting fastest laps here onto lap number 3. This track definitely very slipstream heavy, and it's one of those things where it's hard to shake off the people behind once you're in the first place. So I was kind of being patient and buying my time. I will admit Lemon was quick. I was struggling to keep up as we make a mistake there, getting a little bit loose through Beckett, and that's going to put Courtney right in the back of me, buying Lemon some time to pull away, and we are now going to be under pressure here from the Mercedes behind, who everyone has DRS, and I also have it, but I don't really have a slipstream here as Courtney goes to the inside. Is he going to commit to the move? Yes, he does. I just about managed to hold it around the outside. I was going to turn into the corner there, but I had to once again back out of it at the last second. We hold the inside line into the chicane, we straighten up the car, and we just about survived that attack there, and we survived making that mistake through the S section of Maggots and Beckers as we set our fastest lap on lap number 5, picking up the pace here, responding to the mistake, and once again closing back up to the Force India of Lemon and breaking a little bit of a gap now to Courtney in the Mercedes. And now all the way on to lap 7, you can see a personal best. The soft tyres still working very nicely, and I was starting to feel pretty confident at this stage because P2 I knew I had the pace, and it's just a matter of when, not if, I was going to try and attempt to move on Lemon, because I really wanted this. I could smell a race win coming and I wanted to go for it, and Lemon there gets a little bit wide, very scruffy on the exit, and that's going to open up the opportunity here for us to try and go for a move on the Force India. We have DRS, maximum engine modes engaged as we pull to the inside. Lemon goes defensive, but we're going to commit to the overtake into Stowe, down a couple of gears, running a little bit wide on purpose to make sure he doesn't hang it around the outside, and we get first place in this British Grand Prix. And now we're going to cover the inside just in case through the chicane to make sure no one gets any moves on us. And there we go, P1 in this race, going on to lap number 9. I was very, very happy with that so far, and the race management has been very good up until this point. and we just controlled everything. As now, as you can see, a couple of people actually coming to the pit lane here for the first time this race. So this is when the strategy comes into play, because obviously some people can stay out, some people come in because they come at the tyres last. I did a good job, my tyres felt good, and as you can see, we managed to go one more lap and come in towards the end of lap number 10. Make sure you get it slowed down here to a 60km speed. We just about get it, not speeding. I was kind of banking on a lot of people speeding in the pit lane, and it worked out quite well for me. In terms of cars around us, you've got Collis there, the championship leader, and to be fair, he gained a lot on that one extra lap. He really closed the gap to me, so he was becoming a bit of a factor in this race. From, even though his qualifier wasn't great, he was putting himself into contention with that very good in lap. And as you can see, I was kind of hoping that he didn't jump me in the pit lane, and luckily enough he did not, and we just about keep our position. And it's a pretty average pit stop there from the McLaren crew, but now we're currently P3, and right now we're looking good for first place here. We need to see where we rejoin. Here we go, out of the pit lane now. We've got a Renault coming through turn 1, kind of holding up a lot of cars here. It's going to be nip and tuck through turn number 2 here, but we are going to just about rejoin in front of JSR, who is one of the people that started in the mediums outside the top 10, and he's actually held up Lemon and also Corny behind, so that's going to give me an opportunity to heat up my tyres and try and pull away. And I can tell you, in that kind of pit stop phase, Lemon lost out a couple of places and crucially lost out to Corny, but then we picked up our first penalty of the race for track extending, and that was actually my third one. There was a second one somewhere which I think I forgot to put in, but yeah, that was my first penalty of the race, and it was very unfortunate because if I hadn't got that one on lap 1 where I got pushed off the track by Corny, then I probably wouldn't have had that penalty, because that was my last track extend of the entire race. So in hindsight, I was kind of disappointed, because that might have actually made a difference. I don't know if Corny has a penalty at this stage, and I will find out later on when I ask on the radio, but currently you can see we've got a virtual safety car here. There has been some contact behind. You can see the pack has kind of opened up a little bit, and yeah, we've got a rare virtual safety car in the Apex Online Racing League here, but that's going to give us some time just to save a little bit of fuel, a little bit of tyres as we now get back under racing speed here, making sure we don't speed or pick up a penalty. And pretty much I found out just after this on the radio. I asked the team and I said, does Corny have a penalty? Or you ask the driver behind and they give you the full update, and the team said to me that Corny did not have a penalty. So I was kind of hoping that in the remaining laps of the Grand Prix he would maybe extend a couple of corners or make a mistake, because that's all I could bank on. I couldn't shake him off because of the slipstream. My pace was strong on this tyre though. I could definitely control things, and Corny never really had a go at me, and I think it's because he might have known I had a penalty, because he might have asked on the radio as well. And pretty much at this point, it was my penalty versus his lack of a penalty, and I wasn't going to pull out 3 seconds because I just couldn't shake off the slipstream. And you can see now we've got a yellow flag behind, more contact further back, and it's all kicking off here. And pretty much at this point I was thinking to myself, right, okay, I might not be able to win the race unless Corny picks up a penalty, so we might be able to get P2 if we can keep the gap to Julian behind. Maybe Julian might have a penalty, you never know. So pretty much I spent the remainder of the race pushing as hard as I possibly could, and I pretty much knew I wasn't going to win the race as Corny does pick up the first place. We come home P2 though, as Julian did have a penalty and Ian Bastien in the Williams did not have a penalty, but luckily enough he was not close enough to capitalise on my 3-second time penalty. So all in all, P2, although it should have been my first race win of the season, and I can't lie, I was very disappointed at the time, especially because, like I said, I did 3 track extends, and the first one you could argue it wasn't really a track extend because I had nowhere to go. So yeah, disappointing to say the least, and I was kind of hoping that I wasn't going to get a penalty that race, and I was banking on a lot more. You can see how many people got penalties to be exact, but yeah, I was kind of debating whether to go to the stewards or not and try and get that overturned. But at the end of the day, I just kind of thought to myself, you know what, that's racing. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. It's just the way it goes, and hopefully I can come back next time and try and do better next time out. But all in all, you can see the final race results there. We've got Corny in first, myself in second, Ian Bastien in P3, ahead of Hazard, who's the new guy that joined the league. Fair play to him, getting a 4th place finish ahead of Collis, the championship leader, Julian, Lasser, Iaponi, Duppy and Skatey. And all in all, that is going to be it for this race as we now shift over towards the driver standings. And after that race, you can see we jump up into 4th place. So very decent result, a solid 18 points on the board. Corny jumps up to P5 now, and he's actually breathing down my neck, so we've got to be careful with him after that race win. It definitely could have been better for me. 5 more points would have done me a massive favour, but 7 more points would have done me a massive favour. But you can see the top 3 there, they're kind of in a league of their own. I'm kind of hoping that I can get a few results under my belt and try to really gain some momentum and close up to those guys, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be a long way to go, and there's still plenty of races and plenty of points up for grabs in this championship Championship. And next time out we go to Germany at the Hockenheim, so let's see what happens there. But all in all, guys, that is going to be it for this video and this episode of the Apex Online Racing League here for the British Grand Prix. Ultimately, we miss out on my first pole and my first race win, but hopefully we can get that next time out in Germany. If you guys did enjoy the video, then do drop a like rating, and also do get subscribed. I'd massively appreciate that, guys. And also do turn notifications to not miss a single upload from me. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video very soon. But until then, it's goodbye from me.